I truly thought this would never happen. I started playing Raid in November 2019, nearly 6 years ago, and while I loved the game right away, there was one thing I always hated, and that was the cost to move around gear. Tomorrow, that is gone. Forever. Permanently. Tomorrow, Raid is changing forever in the greatest way possible. It seems to me, from what I've seen online, a couple people don't agree with this. The vast majority of people do, but a couple people don't. If you're one of those people, hit me up. We can debate it in a video. But this is the ultimate change for the better. Quick reminder, guys, if you want to start playing Raid Shadow Legends today, or start a new account, or start over, whatever, use my link in the description in the top pinned comment. It is the best link in the land. There's no other way to paint this. This is a strategy-based RPG, and though it has some faults, one of the things Raid is absolutely the best at in this entire genre is having a diverse pool of champions with very diverse kits, diverse skills, a crazy amount of buffs, debuffs, blah, 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 blah. There are so many cool effects and mechanisms within this game to experiment with. And so many of us never get to experiment because it's such a heavy investment to put your gear onto a unit. That gear's going to go on and just live there forever, or at least for a very long time on most accounts. They've introduced things like the free gear removal periods with the little passes we get. I'm trying to see if I have any right now. I don't, but of course you know what I'm talking about. They did it for 2 weeks at the start of the summer. They typically do it for 4 days in the middle of the month, but we don't need any of that anymore because it is now here and it is permanent. It's here to stay all the time. And this is something that had needed to happen forever ago. But I don't want to take too much time complaining about that. There you go. Permanent free gear removal starts August the 21st. This video will be coming out the evening of August the 20th. So maybe by the time you see it, it is already happening in game. You probably already know about it. But this is just absolutely everything. The idea that a core portion of Raid Shadow Legends revolved around a silver cost for moving gear that was so prohibitive no one could move their gear around and experiment, or at least a lot of players could not, is so archaic. That idea is ancient. It is not a thing in the genre. Basically, no new games have this, and it took Raid a very long time to get rid of it, but let's applaud because they finally did. And I really think this is the greatest change the game has ever seen and really will ever see, because this is such a fundamental shift in how we can all approach our gameplay and how much more fun we're all gonna have playing this game. I truly think the fun of these games, of RPGs, of strategy games, of hero building games, champion building games, revolves around experimenting and trying out different things and finding hidden gem heroes, champions, building them up in your best stuff and seeing what they're capable of. Sure, people have done this in the past, but it's always because they can afford to do so. They want to experiment and they're spending real money, or they've saved a bunch of in-game currency and they don't mind using it for this purpose. But for a lot of players, in a hard game like this, when you're min-maxing, you just can't do that. But now, all of a sudden, literally, when we wake up tomorrow, a switch will be flipped and we will just have free movement of gear. And I just love that. This has been like my singular personal pain point with really getting into the game the way I used to love it. And it's just because I'm used to other games now where like a huge part of my gameplay and my content is experimenting, is trying things out, is seeing what you can accomplish with maybe more unknown characters. But in Raid, that just was not possible. And now all of a sudden it is. Of course, you still have to build the characters up, but you can move all your gear around. The preset feature is going to be your greatest friend, and it is going to be the most beautiful thing. It's not just going to be a niche thing here and there, a couple days a month, a couple hours a week. No, it is going to be the fundamental core of your gameplay. You now need so many less crazy dominant builds as long as you're willing to press a couple buttons. And anyone that watches my other content in other games knows I'm very happy to take the time to press those buttons. In Raid, it has always been, yes, you need good gear, but you need a lot of gear because you need so many different units built out. But now, because we can shop these builds around and we can port them from one unit to the next, we actually don't need so much quantity. We'll still be farming, but we're strictly looking for quality. And that is how I think the gear grind in games like this should be. You should be grinding, trying to refine a certain amount of really good sets, or you're looking for really key pieces to finish off creative builds, but you shouldn't be grinding because you need your 17th attack-based DPS build that's just going to be in some kind of ignore defense gear. It's redundant and it's boring. Yes, you shouldn't have a game where you only need one, but like, 8 should be enough. And then after that point, for those specific builds, it's about refining them and perfecting them. And then you do that for all the different other kinds of builds in the game. One of the strengths of Raid is the sheer volume of content. There's so much to do in this game, but so much of the newer content, especially if you look at something like Cursed City, is about doing things maybe you've already done, but with these crazy restrictions. And those restrictions mean you have to use different champions. But then those champions end up getting a lot worse gear because you don't want to move your best stuff off the best units in the game you always use just to put it on one champion you're going to use for this one challenge during one Cursed City rotation. Sure, this is why they introduced the 4 days a month with the free gear removal. This is why we can get those little passes. Let's see, can I find one really quickly? Yeah, like this over here on D4 or whatever. But the idea that you have to shape your whole gameplay around that, those 4 days, or when you have those passes to use, was annoying, and now it's completely gone. I know we probably all agree. I'm sure I'm mostly preaching to the choir here, but I just think this is the greatest thing ever. And I think if you're like a long-term veteran Raid player, but you also don't play a lot of other games in the genre, I think this will be a hard adjustment for you at first, but then you won't believe what the gameplay feels like. You get a taste when we had those 2 weeks at the beginning of the summer, when we get those 4 days a month, but it's not going to feel rushed. You're just going to confidently know at any point if there's a unit you want to use, you can put that unit in the optimal gear based on what you have on your account for that moment. And that is just so much more fun. These games are about strategy. They're about customization. They are about designing your own stuff. They are about thinking outside the box. But we've been put in this crazy box for 6-7 years now in the game, and finally they've given us the key out. And it's just, I can't wait. I think what I'm most excited about is all of you guys that mostly are just diehard Raid fans and haven't played other games with free movement of gear. And I'm really excited to hear about your experience, because I think you're just gonna love it so much. And I really do want to applaud Plarium for finally deciding to do this. I'm assuming the reason it took so long is Raid has been such a wildly successful game in the genre for so long. They probably were approaching it with the mindset of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They probably have a ton of analytics, but also just a gut feeling that says, hey, it's going well now. Why would we change such a core thing to the game? From my perspective, and I think the perspective of many others, the game was succeeding in spite of that. And I truly think this will take the game to another level. Without a doubt. I'll tell you personally, for me, I will be playing a lot more. I already play a lot, but I will be playing a lot more. One little disappointment, and I want to take this moment actually to say, let me know in the comments how you are going to best take advantage of this. Are you finally going to push some kind of Doom Tower, Secret Rooms, Cursed City, try out new clan boss builds for Chimera, Hydra, Demon Lord, all that stuff? Are you going to do hard faction wars? I would love to hear about it. For me, faction wars is the first thing that comes to mind. I will say, and this is very specific, I'm slightly disappointed because I'm so close to Lydia. I'm 28 stars away from Lydia. I definitely was going to get her within the next week, and I kind of feel like they're making it a cheat code for me at the end now that I have the free movement of gear. But you can see we are only missing Skinwalkers, then only 3 stars in Night Rev, and then there's one other faction, right? Yeah, 9 stars in Barbarian, which I'm gonna max out tomorrow. I wish I kind of wasn't getting this cheat code, but hey, we get the monthly one anyway, so can think of it that way. But yeah, that's pretty fun. And this is going to help a lot of new players. It's really going to be night and day. And I just can't wait for us all to have fun and benefit from this, because it's really freaking cool. Those are my thoughts, guys. I truly think it's basically going to be Raid pre-August 21st, 2025 and Raid post-August 21st, 2025. I cannot overstate, having daily played games where you do have free movement of gear for many years now, how transformative this will be to your experience. The game is going to be a lot better immediately. And that is freaking awesome. And if you're jazzed up and you want to start playing Raid right now, or start a new account, or start over, or whatever the heck you want to do, use my link in the description in the top pinned comment. It is definitively the best link in the land. 4 absolutely top tier epics you can build right away, especially Deacon Armstrong, who you get instantaneously upon downloading the game with my link. I promise it does not get better than that. You do not want like a 6 out of 10, 5.5 out of 10 legendary to start this game. You want a 9.5, 10 out of 10 epic. That is the way to do it. Deacon is the truth. Thank you guys. Let me know your thoughts. I've been Fastidious. Share with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.